Hi guys, it's Kaylin here from Startup Creative. Happy Wednesday. Today I want to talk to you about something that I think every business should have in place and be doing really well and investing in for the growth of their business. I spent 6 hours in business coaching yesterday and I realized that this was a common theme that kept coming up. So I'm going to teach you what I teach a lot of my coaching clients, what I do for myself, and what I see is working really well in businesses right now. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment and I'll try and answer as many of them as we go. But I'm going to get straight to the point. So if you follow us on Instagram, you would have seen in stories right now, I've just posted a quote from Google that they did about small businesses. And the quote was pretty much along the lines of 73% of consumers have decided that, oh, this is a horror, hang on, I've written it here. Where is it? It's 73% of consumers say that regularly getting useful information from an advertiser is the most important attribute when selecting a brand. So for me, this is what I see all the time in my business. I saw it years ago when I was spending time in New York, interviewing big businesses, working alongside some really great businesses. And it pretty much says that content creation and valuable, great content is the most powerful things you can do to build trust and win over your audience. So even as yourself as a consumer, you will see that when a brand sends you a free ebook or a checklist or some sort of content that genuinely adds value to your life and changes something for you or helps you with something, then you build trust with that brand. And you don't necessarily have to pay for it. They haven't asked anything, maybe just an email address. But it is a way that you can actually start to cultivate a very trustworthy community. And more so, the statistics are showing that your audience or your preferred customer is spending 70% of their time researching you, looking at your content, looking what you've got for them and how quickly you can add value to their life before they choose to work with you. So you would have noticed if you're in doing Facebook ads or you're running a product or a service, if you only talk about sales and what you have to offer for your business, people are going to tune out. Like, they're calling bullshit on that. So content creation, which I'm going to talk to you about today, is a really good way for you to start to cultivate and bring in your audience. And it's more of a long game, right? It's not like I'm going to run some Facebook ads and people are going to book in with me. It's about how you capture your audience with something of value and then consistently show up for them in a way that's going to help them solve the problem that they're experiencing and your business is there to help them with, right? There's a few things here. A lot of people come to me and be like, well, I don't want to give everything away for free. And in my mind, I'm like, that's bullshit. The more generous you are, the more authentic and available and consistent you are in showing up with really great content for your audience, the more likely you are going to be top of mind when they have money to spend on what it is that you have to offer. So your job in business right now is to showcase yourself as the expert, to showcase that you're reliable, that you're good at what you do, and that you can genuinely help them. And a lot of that needs to be done before they even spend a cent with you. So I often say to my coaching clients that I expect you to have at least 7 different touch points as to how your audience is finding you and how you're providing value for them, right? So it can be social media, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, your website, your blog, maybe there's flyers, maybe you do events, maybe you do collaborations, like there's plenty of different ways. But one that I'm really going to hone in today, which I think every business needs a strategy on, and I don't think people are realizing how serious this is a mailing list. So having your own mailing list set up is actually the only thing you'll ever own. If you talk about cultivating an audience and bringing people in, social media is not a reflection of the assets that you have in your business. Because all of those followers could be taken away at any moment when those platforms decide to change or shut down. And a lot of people are experiencing this already with the change in algorithms, and it's been happening for years. I've personally had coaching clients lose their accounts, be shut down altogether, and had to fight to get them back. And it's a really real example. And I remember saying to her, Well, how did you go with that mailing list I told you to set up? So your mailing list is your assets. Once you inspire people to join your mailing list, you own that database. People have chosen to give you that data and it is yours. And there is so much value in a mailing list. And I'm going to teach you today how to set up a really great newsletter and what kind of content and things you can produce in there. I'm going to run you through some newsletters that I think are totally nailing it. And then I'm going to give you some hacks as to how to leverage your newsletter for more sales and growth in your business. So first and foremost, I truly believe that email marketing is one of the most powerful ways to market, better than Facebook ads, video content, YouTube, whatever it is, right? Why I think this is because in my experience, people are more focused when they open an email. When you're experiencing social media, and so many, I'd say this to clients and at events all the time, is use your own behavior as a consumer to notice how you interact with brands and content, right? So my experience and what I get feedback from in my mailing list is that it is a more focused attention. So when you go on social media, you're most likely doing more than one thing, right? You're scrolling, maybe you're talking, maybe you're in line, maybe you're at the stoplight, like who knows what you're doing with that social media, but your attention is always a little bit scattered and it's fast paced, right? So if your mind is in that state, you're less likely to take action on whatever it is that your the brands are trying to get you to pay attention to. When you open an email, you could be sitting at your desk, right? So you're just on that focus. We're actually trained to do emails from in a workplace environment. So it's on the computer. Perhaps, we know it's a longer form of communication. So we're more ready to consume and to read. Because of that attention span, it's easier to have a call to action. It's easier to ask your audience to take action. So whether it's buying or clicking or replying to you, because you've got more of attention, they're more likely to go, okay, yep, that's what I want to do. And because it's not just an image and a caption and fast-paced behavior, they're more likely to digest the information that you're trying to give them that will inspire them to take the action. I often get experience, and I personally do this. I've had lots of feedback from clients who say, I love your mailing list. I often save it and make sure that I'm in a good place or I have a coffee in hand to enjoy it, right? So people can actually save it for later. And I personally have a folder on my computer in my inbox where I save really good quality mailing lists that I want to go back and reference, or that there's good advice in there that I think I could use later down the track. And it also means that you can send it on, right? It makes it really easy to forward it to people and say, you should be on this mailing list, or look how great this blog post is, or look at this opportunity. And I personally, when I read something really great, or, if it's in reference to a client that I'm working with, or a friend, or an event, it's just so easy to press forward and spread it out. And it means that if you constantly show up and you're actually inspiring people, and I'll teach you how to do this today, to have that sort of behavior around your mailing list, it means that you're front of mind, okay? I actually had an experience the other day. I'm doing an Eckhart Tolle online course right now. It's completely free. It's, gets sent to my mailing into my inbox for 5 days in a row or whatever. But I'm obviously now on his mailing list. And the other day, obviously Eckhart Tolle is all about the present moment and the power of now and all those things. And so I got an email the other day that was just a quote, and the caption, this email subject line was a daily reminder to stay in the present moment or something. And it was just this beautiful image with a nice quote. And that's all was in the email. And I was like, that is pure value for my life. Thank you. It made me take a breath. The quote was beautiful. And I was like, And I also, from a business perspective, was like, that's just value, knowing that that's something that I would enjoy as your target market. So for that experience, it allowed Eckhart Tolle mailing list to keep front of mind for me, right? It shows up consistently in my inbox, and I'm like, wow, that was really good. I'm going to go and I need to finish that course, or I missed some videos or whatever. And it also sparks that human in experience in me where I'm like, that was really nice. That made me take a breath. That made me come into the present moment. And all of a sudden, I have an emotional connection and an emotional experience with what Eckhart's emails do for me. So this is your job, and this is all the things that you can do with a mailing list that you can't necessarily do with social media, right? And it's a very cheap or affordable, so most of the time it's free way to connect with your audience, to keep yourself front of mind, to build trust, to add value, and then eventually call them to action. So if you're doing all of these things without necessarily being like sale, 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 then when you are ready to say, hey, I've got something for you, the emotional bond, the trust, the value has already been built, that they're more likely to go to open and go, yeah, cool, I trust you, your content's always great. What else have you got for me? Oh, right, I didn't know you did courses. I'm going to sign up for one of those. Yeah? Okay, cool. Feel free to throw in any questions. So what I think makes a really great newsletter, so something to set out, I'm going to give you some tips in here. I personally got mine designed. So Smack Bang Designs designed us a really beautiful email template, and we've got a few different versions. And then we had it coded into MailChimp. So I personally use MailChimp. I've been using it for 5 years since I started. It was a bit of a mission to get my head around, but it has been, I love it now, and it keeps getting better. Squarespace have their own database now. So if you're on a Squarespace site, like I'm all for ease. So if you can easily integrate that, then get that set up. Another quick tip that I'll say here is if you haven't started your business yet, the least you can do is get a landing page up. So just a holding website that says, put your email in to be the first to hear about us. Because if you're posting on Instagram and you're starting to talk about it, people are going to, and sometimes people just stumble across your website as well. You want to start to capture, give yourself as much opportunity to start building your database, even if it's just a get in touch for when we are going to launch. So first and foremost, if you haven't started yet, get something up and at least collect email addresses. Once you start to build your database, then you want to send out a regular email, okay? So it's what I call a newsletter. So our newsletter template, you might want to get it designed nicely so it's on brand for you. So any sort of graphic designer should be able to do that for you, and then you can get it coded in. And then if not, there's like MailChimp, and I haven't used Squarespace personally, but they have beautiful templates that are very easy to use, so drag and drop. But your job here is to add value. I cannot stress that enough. If you have a newsletter that's all about sales, people are going to put it in the junk, right? It's like every time that email turns up, they're just trying to get me to buy something. But if that email turns up and there's this packed value of all these other things that make me understand that you get me as a business or as a consumer, and your business understands me, then I'm going to spend time going through that. And I'll give you some examples of how, of brands that I think are doing this really well. So you want to create so much value and so much, resolutions to their problems that they can't wait to open it, or when it comes that they're looking forward to it, that they want to forward it and share it with friends. And it doesn't always have to be your content. So Dr. Joe Dispenza, obviously, is one of my favorite mailing lists. But I remember I was in New York a few years back, and I was total fangirl of Dr. Joe, still am. But I was going through a bit of a rough time, and I was doing his meditations and reading his books, and it was a really grounding tool for me. But every Saturday morning in New York, I would get his mailing list, and I would remember waking up and being like, yes, the Dr. Joe email's here. And I would lie in bed and read it like I would a newspaper, right? And what I love about it is it always is the same template every single time. So it always has a blog that he's personally written, and I love that because now he's blown up, but he still writes his blogs in his tone of voice, which is always some sort of reflection on the work and the meditation. But then he has about 3 or 4 articles that aren't necessarily his, but that are supportive or aligned to his message and that back up what he talks about. So there'll be a YouTube link to a cool TED talk or a video. Maybe there's other people's articles. And then he advertises his retreats and upcoming work. And then he'll have some testimonials of people who have healed themselves through meditations and stuff like that. So what I love about it is I always get to hear from Dr. Joe, but then he also gives me all this other added value and other experts in the space and cool video content that he's not necessarily producing, but is in alignment with my beliefs based on the fact that I follow him. So it's okay to use other people's content, right? It's okay to be like, here's a YouTube video we're loving. Like what last week on my mailing list, there's a playlist on my Spotify right now that I'm loving, and it's like it's not inspiring or anything. It's actually kind of gangster, and I shared that as a playlist. I was like, here's some songs that I'm loving. So use other people's content, and what you want to do here is it shows that you understand more of your audience, right? So if your customer is coming, like let's use Startup Creative as an example, they're coming for business advice, right? But they also might be looking for mindfulness, or where to get a good cocktail on the weekend, or some great tunes while they're sitting at computer doing some work or whatever. What other events might be coming up that if I'm not producing events or don't have things around the world, what else can I recommend? So it means that you are showing your audience as if, you're writing a letter to a friend or whatever, that I understand more than just the fact that you need business. As a business coach and as someone who's here to help you, I understand that you also like to party, or you love good music, and all these other different things. So being able to understand and connect with your audience with other content that's not just like, hey, have you heard we're doing this? Can you buy this? Or right? Make sense? Cool. I'm gonna keep going. Some other ways that you might like to do it is to change up how you do it. So sometimes I will do here's everything that's been going on, a bit of like in case you missed it. Here's some blog posts, here's some podcasts, here's what courses are on offer, have you checked out our ebook, like all those things. And then sometimes, and I think Smack Bang Design also do this really well, is that it'll just be a personal letter from the founder. Tess often does this, where I think it's about once a month she'll write a letter that's like, hey guys, Tess here, and it's personally her, and it's reflections, and it's what she's been going through as a founder. I've personally done that as well, and then I invite people to write back to me, hey, I'd love to hear from you, what are you up to? And I always get responses, and I always endeavor to write back. Even if it's not straight away, I'll always keep them in my inbox and be like, I'm going to get back to those people. So it's a different way to connect with your audience and to show up. And it's also something that you wouldn't find anywhere else. Like, where else do you find Tess and what her reflections are? She doesn't have a podcast. She doesn't post on her Instagram from a personal perspective. So it's a way to connect with Tess as the founder of Smack Bang Designs, as an inspiring woman, right? So it's content that they wouldn't get anywhere else. And this is another really important tip, is you want to reward your mailing list. They've given you an email address. They've given you their personal inbox, which is often disrespected with lots of spam. So if you can give your email list first access to courses, a personal letter, special discount codes, some other fun content that you're not sharing elsewhere, then it's a reward for them for being loyal and for opening your inbox, so your email. And again, it creates that trust of like, yeah, there's always great stuff in here. I can't wait to open it up. So if you are a personal brand as well, maybe a personal letter. Danielle Laporte does it really well. She always signs off Danielle, and it's always in her tone of voice. So I like how she does hers. Similar to my overview, it's like sometimes it's like that in case you missed it stuff, right? So often what we underestimate is there's so much content going out there, like billions of pieces of content go out into the world, and everyone's trying to get your customers' attention, right? From their dentist to their massage therapist to their kids' school or whatever, right? So it's okay, and you have to assume that people aren't going to see everything that you've done and produced, whether it's throughout the week or throughout the month. So it's okay to recap and put it all in the one spot, because and rehash your content, right? It's like if you produce a blog post or a podcast or a really great Instagram quote perhaps, and people can sometimes miss that. So it's okay to put it all together and be like, hey, I don't know if you got to see all of this, because people's behaviors online are very scattered, And I'm sure they would love to see it all in the one spot. So that could be a nice idea for you and how that works. Something that I haven't quite nailed, but I know that works really well when I have done it in the past, and then I see League of Extraordinary Women do this very well, is they send it out as a regular time every single week, okay, or every single fortnight or month, or however they do it. Tim Ferriss is another really one who does this, good one who does this. But sending that out as a regular thing, again, can create that trust with your audience, right? So, oh, great. Like, I think leagues go out on Friday afternoon, and it's always a bit of a letter from their founder and what's coming up. Tim Ferriss does a 5-bullet Friday, and his is really good. It says it's templated again. So it's like, here's what I'm listening to, here's what's inspiring me, here's what I'm studying, like, and it changes all the time, but it's like 5 different things about here's what I'm up to. Really short, to the point, always relevant, and goes out at the same time every single week, right? So if you have the capacity to, I highly recommend and challenge you, and I'm going to challenge myself as well, to try and come up with a regular date and time that you send that out. Again, it's just another way to build that trust and consistency and that certainty with your audience of like, hey, I've got you, here's some great stuff that we want to provide for you. So how you might like to develop the content here in terms of adding value is ask yourself the question, what else does your audience want to learn from you? So, you know, often I have coaching clients who are nutritionists, like a nutritionist, and it's like, cool, they want recipes, but maybe they also want to know how to chop veggies, or how to store them for a long period of time, or where to get a great yoga class, or what blender they should be buying. So don't always assume that there's plenty of other content that you can provide for them that isn't always about what you're doing, okay? So don't make it all about you. See if you can add some value that's in and around all of the other things that you know your audience is going to be looking for. So if you're giving advice about how to meal prep, then recommend some great knives that you use, right? And then maybe and put a link to where they can get knives, or what they should consider when they're shopping for knives, or how to go plastic free with storing their vegetables, or the best 5 organic farmers markets around your city or whatever, right? So that is all of the other stuff that your audience is going to go looking for, that information, based on the fact that you know that the common theme here is they want great nutrition in their life. So how can you provide that for them so they don't have to go looking elsewhere? The more boxes you can tick for them, the more problems you can solve, the more likely they are to be a super fan of you. And if you genuinely add value to their life, you're building a human connection with them that is like, you know, when you get a problem solved, whether it's like, oh my God, I've been looking for one of those forever, or I've never known how to do that, or, you know, whatever, I implemented that advice and I got results. As a human, we go, oh, this person's great, I trust them, they're fabulous, like that was awesome. And that's a actual chemical reaction in a brain, so that next time they see you on Instagram, or an event coming up, or a course added, or an email in their inbox, they're gonna say, oh, yes, I love them. I did their course and it was really helpful. Yeah. So think about the genuine added value that you can give to your audience, and ask yourself, what else are they looking to learn? And then use that as your content creation starting point. So again, I've mentioned Dr. Joe. He comes out the same time every time. He uses other people's content. Tim Ferriss, again, is personal content, personal advice, and things like the other week he did one was like what I'm investing in, and he gave advice as a business that he was spending money on. So give personal content that they can't get anywhere else. Make it exclusive and reward them. Esther Perel, I'm loving as well. She's just started this new thing called Letters from Esther. So you can write in, and she's obviously blown up as a therapist. She's a psychotherapist. But she's blown up as a psychotherapist, but she's always maintained this ability to want to hear from her audience and want to genuinely solve people's problems. So now you can write letters into her, and she answers them in her weekly email. So I thought that was a really good one. Another great one is like if you are in a space of like health and wellness, or I've got a client who does a lot of stuff in the sporting industry, and you want to kind of showcase that you're the expert, right? You know what's up, you know what's happening around the town. Conscious City Guide is a brand, and they do a really beautiful email, so I highly recommend getting on their mailing list just to observe the beautiful design. But they showcase wellness events around the whole world. And it's like you kind of get in, you scan for your cities or where you're going to be, and you have a look. And they're really tailored. So it's kind of like, I know that they're going to be holistic, wellness, health related, beautiful events. And it's very on brand. So they don't just advertise everyone and anyone. They're obviously always on brand retreats or things that are coming up. So that's a beautiful example. Nice Martin was a Sydney clothing brand. I love their emails as well because they always do like a fun little collage of what their latest fashion is. So, I feel like they just creatively present their stuff. It's not just like buy. It's just like they always seem to be updating their photos, their models, and then even how they collage their mailing list, and it's flashing and it's interactive and it's inspiring. So it's not just like a catalogue, right? And then I shared with you the Eckhart Tolle example that was just like a nice little reminder. So something that I might try working on as well for my business. But some other little hacks for you in this space is to observe your own behavior. Sign up for some mailing lists. See what grabs your attention, what you enjoy. What do you throw to spam and don't trust anymore? And what time of days do you like receiving the emails and all of those things? So there's so much to be learned from your own behavior as a consumer. So jump on some mailing list and see what you're engaging with. Do you click through, or do you like to stay in the mailing list? Is it too salesy? Is there added value? All of those things. And get some ideas like that. The other thing that you also really need to consider is, in order to grow this mailing list, is you need to have an opt-in. So some sort of incentive for people on your website, or through social media, you can share it now, for people to join your mailing list. And the trick here is that you could have a number of different ones, whether it's a discount code. I personally have about 5 or 6 just for free guides and things on the resource tab on our website. But my kind of hero opt-in is a business plan document. And for me, it's like most people will need that at some point. But then we also advertise all of our other ones through our blog posts or on Instagram and things like that as well. So the trick with a good opt-in is that it should showcase how high quality your mailing list is going to be. So if your opt-in is just like, there is nothing worse than someone being like, download this opt-in, it's going to be really great. And then you get it and it's just like bullshit marketing, like, fluffy information you could have got from the website. The opt-in needs to showcase how quality your mailing list is going to be and how quality your advice is going to be as well. So consider your opt-in as almost like a first impression. And I would recommend spending some time, some energy, get it designed nicely, going out of your way to actually give some real great value and results that you can help people to get in that space straight away. So, if it is a solution that you can solve, if it's a bit of a teaser to the services that you offer, if it's a discount code, if it's free shipping, whatever you can value that you can genuinely give them for a instant connection of like, wow, this brand's legit. They're not just here to capture my email and then spam the hell out of me. Yeah. So think about showcasing the quality of your content and what they have to expect by being part of your community now. You don't want to have too many calls to action in your mailing list, right? If you send it out once a month, then give them lots of content. So show them all the different things that they've missed, but try to keep your mailing list driven to one specific call to action. So if you are selling clothing like Nice Martin, what's one hero product that you really want everyone to check out? And maybe it's a certain color theme or a shirt. If you're a service-based business, focus on what your hero service is going to be for this month or this week. So are you going to really push your coaching, or are you going to really push a workshop that you've got coming up? But try not to direct people's attention too much, because if they start clicking on all these links, they might get overwhelmed or they'll get distracted and they probably won't convert on anything. So see if you can just keep your call to action simple and change it up for every mailing list as well. And then my final tip for you is to ask them to get in touch. Use your mailing list as a way to get people to engage with you, to give you feedback, to ask them what they need, to let them know, to see if they're enjoying the content, what they would like more of, or ask questions from you. So the times that I have done this, and I do it from that personal letter perspective, I've had such beautiful feedback and some great questions. So it shows that you're a real person behind a brand. You're not just here to like take their email address and put them down some hectic sales funnel that's going to spam the hell out of their inbox and, you know, irritate them from too many questions and too many call to actions to buy. So, you know, most of us can probably experience those times where we've had, you know, you click on something once and then all of a sudden you're getting 50 million emails a day. And, you know, as a business owner, I hate when my inbox gets blown up with trash. So I'm constantly unsubscribing. And so, yeah, I really respect an email that turns up in my inbox. And I'm very specific about what ones I allow to stay in there and to keep talking to me. And what you'll also notice is that if you consistently show up in this space, you are staying top of mind. So trust and know that while you might be sending out to thousands of people and you may not get too many responses or purchases straight away, people are still experiencing you. And the statistic is that they will do 70% of their research behind closed doors before they ever engage with you and say, okay, I'm ready to learn from you. So trust and know that showing up in this space is building trust, and that when people are ready and your email arrives and they're having, you know, that moment where they're like, I'm ready to take action on this, or it's my mum's birthday, I'm going to finally buy that, or, you know, I've been saving up for that, or whatever, then you are the one that they've trusted and they've known for all this time, because you bring value to them without always asking or expecting them to buy from you. So I hope that helps. Absolutely get your mailing list up and going, show up consistently, and add value. I cannot stress that enough. All the best, guys. Give me a shout or a DM if you have any extra questions. I'm going to be working on some opt-ins to help you with this stuff as well. So jump on our mailing list if you want to be the first to hear about those, as well as some business overhaul checklist, coaching, specific coaching. I've got lots of people coming to me who are, you know, in a bit of a mess with things everywhere and they don't know where to focus their attention. So I'm developing a coaching strategy session. That means we sit down for 90 minutes and go through all aspects of your business, from pricing, website, social media, your content strategy, your personal mindset as an entrepreneur, and offering you a strategy. So you'll walk home with a strategy of how to tenfold your business, clean up all the loose ends, identify opportunities and actions to take to actually implement into your business, so that you will feel really clear and empowered to take action in taking your business to the next level. And I think now is a really great time. I'm personally doing it for my business as well. So it's about to go into 2020. So now's a good time to start that planning and looking at what worked and what didn't work this year, or where your opportunities might have arisen. And yeah, start to make a plan for how you can dominate for 2020. So if that's something that you would need help with, or you're ready to get serious about a business overhaul, flick me a DM, or you can email me, Kayleen@startupcreative.com.au. The link is in our bio, and I can send you the details as to how to book in one of those sessions. Have a great day, guys. Good luck.